Hi, welcome to Math 76, Lesson 107. The words acute, right, obtuse, and straight are terms we use to name angles of various sizes. Recall that a square corner is a right angle. Doors, chalkboards, windows, books, papers, and buildings all contain right angles. An angle smaller than a right angle is an acute angle. Some remember this by thinking of a cute little angle. An angle that makes a straight line is a straight angle. An angle that is greater than a right angle but less than a straight angle is an obtuse angle. I'm going to show you each type of these angles on the whiteboard now. This is a right angle. Right angles are usually noted with a square in the corner. This is an acute angle. An acute angle is smaller than a right angle. This is an obtuse angle, which is greater than a right angle, but less than a straight angle. And this is a straight angle. A unit we use for measuring angles is degrees. A full turn around a circle is 360 degrees. Now we would write that by notating degrees with a small circle above the number and to the right. So just like I put here, and it is always going to be above and to the right of the number. Now a right angle is 1/4 of the way around a circle. So starting here, it goes 1/4 of the way. That forms a right angle. Now, a right angle being 1/4 of the way, when we take 1/4 of 360 is 90. So a right angle is 90 degrees. Now, an acute angle measures less than 90 degrees. So an acute angle would be somewhere in here. An obtuse angle measures more than 90 degrees, but it is less than 180 degrees. This straight line, so from here halfway around the circle, is 180 degrees. An obtuse angle would be somewhere in here, in this area. Okay. If angle X is an acute angle, then what type of angle is angle Y? So right here we have angle X. That is an acute angle. We see that angle X is smaller than a right angle, and that angle Y is greater than a right angle. So angle Y would be an obtuse angle. Together, angle X and angle Y form a straight angle. So when we add these together, they form this straight angle. If the measure of angle X is 60 degrees, what is the measure of angle Y? Now, a straight angle measures 180 degrees. Angle X measures 60 degrees of that 180 degrees. So angle Y measures the rest of the 180 degrees. So we could take 180 degrees, subtract 60 degrees from that, which will give us 120 degrees. And that tells us that angle Y is 120 degrees. These two angles together, angle X and angle Y, will add up to the 180 degrees. An angle is formed by the intersection of two lines, rays, or segments. The point of intersection is the vertex of the angle. The lines, rays, or segments form the side of the angle. A particular angle may be named by a number or a letter between the sides of the angle, as in this example. An angle may also be named by the letter which identifies its vertex. We may also name an angle with 3 letters that identify a point on one side of the angle, the vertex of the angle, and a point on the other side of the angle, as would be this angle. This angle, P, Q, and R. Now, if I was going to label these angles, this one I would label this A, and I would label this P, Q, R. Now notice that the symbol right here may be used to abbreviate the word angle. We use 3 letters to name an angle when one letter does not clearly distinguish an angle. And let me give you an example of that. Now looking at this, giving one letter would not distinguish an angle. But we can look at this and I could tell you to name 3 angles that have their vertex at point A. So we can look at, here's point A. We could have angle DAB. And we would write it like this. We also have angle CAB. And our third angle with a vertex at angle A would be DAC. Now, since lessons 3 and 4, we've been solving one-step equations in which we find a missing number for addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division problems. In this lesson, we'll begin solving 2-step equations in which more than one operation is involved. For example, now let's think about what this equation means. When 1 is subtracted from 3n, the answer is 20. So 3n equals 21. We would add 1 to both sides, finding that then 3n equals 21. Now, since 3n means 3 times n, and 3n equals 21, n will equal 7. And we can find this by dividing both sides by 3, or we can notice that 3 times 7 equals n. When we take 21, we divide that by 3, the answer is 7, giving us n equals 7. And just keep in mind what we're doing is isolating the variable, the letter n, and whatever we need to do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other. So I'm going to go through these steps one more time. Oh, sorry, that's too high for you to see. So I will add 1, add 1, which leaves us 3n equals 21. I will divide both sides by 3, which will leave us with n equals 7. And that is our answer. And I want to practice a couple of those before we go to our lesson. Let's try 3n plus 1 equals 16. I'd like you to pause the video now, solve for n, and then come back and we'll work through this together. Okay, we will first subtract 1 from both sides, because again, this means 3n plus 1 equals 16. So we would know that 3n is going to equal 15. Now we want to take both sides and divide them by 3. We know that, or we can look at this, that 3 times n equals 15, which would leave us that n equals 5. So we divide both by 3, and this is our answer. Let's do one more of these. Sorry, that's kind of a funny 2 right in the light. Let me move this over. 2x minus 1 equals 9. Go ahead and pause the video again, solve for x, and then we'll come back and work through it together. Okay, so looking at this, we know that 2 times x minus 1 equals 9, which would mean that 2 times x equals 10. We add 1 to both sides. 2 times x equals 10. Now, if we look at this, 2 times something equals 10. 2 times x, well, we know 2 times 5 equals 10. So x will equal 5. However, we can find this by dividing both sides by 2. Dividing by 2 here, those cross out and leaves us with x. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So x equals 5. And if you have any questions about this, of course, I'm available by email, or you can call me between 9 and 10 tomorrow as you're working your assignment. And I'm more than happy to go over this over the phone with you. If you have any questions about angles, definitely refer to the book or give me a call or an email tomorrow. And I'll see you again for lesson 108.